So as we proceed into ukiwaza, the next floating technique is Sumi Otoshi. It's important to reflect on how the ukiwaza developed out of the original 15 and into Mr. Tomiki's 17. In the initial idea of the 15, you had the wrist techniques, and you had a failure of the wrist technique, but then a completion of the technique with just the body shearing activity. And so the Mayatoshi form, starting from the Shionagi activity, was exactly the idea. I start in a Shionagi idea, I end in a Mayatoshi. It's sort of, you could think of it as, oh, I think I'll have a shortcut and just throw him right here instead of going ahead and turning. So you had that shearing. Sumi Otoshi, interestingly enough, was a beginning to start at Tenkai Kota Haneri. So as if we were beginning a Tenkai Kota Haneri form to wrap him all the way up to here, but throwing on that initial hip activity. So we would take the activity off and throw here. And so that was the beginning idea of where Sumi Otoshi came from. And it's still probably, to my mind, one of the cleanest ways to approach it. If you start from the outside balance break and just rotate out with the hip to the back corner, you have this same shearing idea, because we're shearing him as his line comes forward back to the rear corner over here. So technically, if he comes and attacks and I just push through this shoulder, we have a form of entering for Sumi Otoshi, but it's a little nicer from the outside here for a Sumi Otoshi activity as well. When you go ahead and make the throw go, you're just going to extend his hand past the line of his feet where he can stand up. So it's very basic right here. Can you also begin this from the coiling action? Yeah, you could start and see a continuity all the way from Shionagi potential if he's reflexing away from this, doesn't like it, and throwing back to this back corner as well. That's perfectly fine. You're just elongating the whole activity, and it sometimes for people gets a little confused that you think that it has to be a reversal of this sort of coil. This sort of coil turning into this kind of activity, people get hung up on, oh, well, this is a wrist lock, and this is a wrist lock, and that's what's going on in Sumi Otoshi. Not really. Sumi Otoshi is just as active right there with no wrists at all. If you just step in, if you were to think about it in one of its purer forms, that we normally have balance break function like this, the forward step. If I do the same balance break function, but to the inside of his arm to the wrong direction, it would just be that forward step. That is about as pure and clean an idea of Sumi Otoshi as you're going to get. And if you think about it, every time we're doing a forward balance break, we're just doing Sumi Otoshi to the guy. You go all the way to the point of the shoulder, and he rolls really quick in the air. So nice activity, nice way to go about it, keeps it nice and clean. Again, the original idea, outside position, like I'm beginning my Tenkai Kota Haneri, turn with the hip to the back corner, and then the throw goes. So lots of ways to go about it, but in function, it's a shearing to the back corner, the rear corner of the man, which simultaneously is how you see it done in judo too. The great Kyozo Mifune had a form of this from judo grips. The man would take a step forward and he would reverse him right off of that elbow. So basically same throw, just being applied in an Aikido context, but throwing to the rear corner. Sumi Otoshi.